I've always been too self-aware for my own good. I started judging my own thoughts and feelings ridiculously young, sifting through all the disappointing things I said and did during the day, and as time went on, I could explain myself completely, follow every thought to its source, trace every emotion back to the first time I felt it. I assumed that if I understood my fear well enough, it would finally set me free. Well, knowing all my triggers and patterns changed nothing. If anything, it made things worse because now I could watch myself do the wrong thing and still not stop. Yet, striving for more knowledge, reading more books, and taking on more responsibility for it was the only solution I knew about. I wanted to stay in control, but at some point I was tired of my own thinking, tired of being so self-absorbed and so selfish in a way, always fishing for reassurance here and there. And that's also the real pathology in a way. An almost neurotic chase in the wrong direction, essentially. Don't get me wrong, introspection and inquiry is necessary. The mistake is inflating your ego by digging into the past and constructing stories that strengthen the beliefs you already hold. The self you examine is a construction built out of memories, beliefs, and desires. Studying it only makes the illusion more and more convincing. And this is why naming your suffering doesn't release you from it. You take a feeling like anxiety or sadness and you turn it into a personality. At first, it feels like understanding. You finally have clarity, a kind of diagnosis you can work with. But it's a wall. You wear the label like a crest on your chest and therefore lock yourself into a prison and actively convince the wards to never let you out. You basically swallow the key yourself. So the goal is not to understand yourself. It's to get rid of yourself. You need a better question than what's my purpose? Something that matters more than your own life and allows you to focus on the greater good. For me, that's what the truth is for. The truth with capital T. Because it doesn't care what you want it to be. It won't bend to the story. To see it, you have to completely drop the story. And I believe this is the work of the poet, of the sensitive young man. The purpose of the poet is to weather the storm, to suffer, to embrace the entire bandwidth of human experience, and to see clearly. To see clearly and to turn this clarity into beauty. The suffering is necessary because you can't do this from an armchair. Most people assume that the poet has to withdraw from the world, wallow in his memories, and philosophize all day. We've seen earlier that this would be fatal. There's no point in writing without first learning how to live well. Writing poetry, making music, painting pictures was never really about forming sentences, playing notes, or holding a brush. The greatest artists know how to live well, and it's something you can't learn in school. Great art requires you to embrace the present moment independent from your personal rating about it. And once you can do this, nothing bad can happen to you as a writer, for example. Not because the suffering stops, of course it doesn't, because you stop believing the world to conspire against you. The world is indifferent, not hostile, and most of the time you simply lack the context or perspective to understand the bigger picture, which can only be gained in hindsight. If you pay attention, let the experience unfold in front of you without narrating it, you position yourself beyond good and evil, black and white. And from that point, almost anything can turn into a lesson learned or a story to be immersed in. The ego finally shuts up when you zoom out and embody a greater and broader perspective. The suffering that traps you comes from being obsessed with yourself. The suffering worth having is the kind of suffering you take on for something larger than life. And this now sounds heroic, but this shouldn't build another ego as well. The problem is that almost everything around you is built to keep you from this truth. Being obsessed with yourself is profitable right now. Build a personal brand, productize yourself, start looks maxing, monetize your interests, heal in public, all of that shit. These are the things that were supposed to free you from the rat race. And even those things betrayed you. And AI can't hand you this truth either. These companies simply build a mirror reflecting the beliefs you already hold. It flatters you, it agrees with vague opinions, and it always makes sure to never offend you. And guess what? The truth hurts, and it's not trained to do that. It's not trained to give you the truth. It's not trained to make you feel the truth. So the work of the poet is the same as it's always been, but more important than ever before. Face what's actually there. Say it without flinching, even when it costs greatly. Because without you, mass consumption has us marching down a de-evolutionary path, reverting us back into thoughtless, animalistic vessels.